sees a different point of view. That's what a debate is about. But 5 people in their wisdom thought that is how it should be done. That's all I can say.
You know, you talk about a debate in your retirement, Justice Kaul, you've reignited a debate which speaks of, the National Judicial Appointment Commission, where you've stated that possibly it was too early to strike it down, that it had merit.
So this statement of mine is based on the experience I've seen in the post-NJC period. We had a 1950 to 1990 period where a particular mode of appointment used to take place. Chief Justice with the government in power. The Collegium system was brought in judicially, for good reasons I believe. It worked well for a considerable period of time. At some stage, the political dispensation felt that they wanted to have a bigger role and they brought in the NJC. NJC had its own problems. I'm not saying problems didn't exist, and that's why possibly it was set aside. Now, question is, should it have been set aside? Should it have been given time? Should it have been tweaked? Personally, my belief is it could have been tweaked by taking care of the biggest concern, which is that the appointment process should not result in a logjam or an overplay of the government role, because in a 6-member committee, there were 3 judges. So, what if a 3:3 logjam occurs? That was the concern. If it was 5, even eminent lawyers said it could have been worked out. Maybe it's my thought that if it had been given, a Chief Justice should have been given a casting vote in it. It could have maybe tweaked that problem by tweaking it. The law did not say so, but it would require judicial tweaking. After that, appointments must be made, would be the second stage. So why I say so? Because this period of time there has been certainly a feeling among the political class and the government that judges appoint judges, and therefore our role is being compromised.
So Justice Kaul, you'd say that the NGC was a good idea with modifications?
Yes, it could have been modified. Now, as I said, one method was the whole NGC debate became, is this right or is that wrong? Instead of trying to find a path through. Maybe from the government side it could have been said that some modifications could have worked out on suggestions. Maybe the judiciary could have permitted it to work for some time and then tweaked it, or tweaked it in the beginning. These are all possibilities in hindsight, I must say. But it would help in, I think, the appointment process.
Okay.
Seeing how it has ultimately worked out post the NJC being quashed.
You know, judicial appointments have been controversial, but they've also been linked to the independence of the judiciary somewhat. You've yourself you've headed the Collegium in High Court. You've been part of the Collegium in Supreme Court. What, according to you, have been chinks in the Collegium? You know, in layman terms, a lot of people would say there's a certain amount of, in politics you call it bhai bhatijawad. Do you think that was one of the issues?
I think one thing is that the process is not understood. So when you say transparency of the system, we can't sit in a glass house and appoint judges. But there is a process. There's a process of consultation with the judges. At least I have followed in 2 courts process of consultation with judges across the board, even the junior judges. I would say because you have come from the bar, give some suggestions. From the right-thinking members of the bar, give their inputs. Informally consult the IB. I personally would do it to find out, is there something very, very obviously which would be a problem while making an appointment of a judge. Sit down with the Collegium, collect a name, maybe collect 100 names, then slowly water it down to different levels. See the representation character which is necessary. It can be caste community issues, it can be gender issues, and then work out a list. And it did work. I don't have a complaint on it, because from Tamil Nadu, which has been a great testing ground for me, a very satisfying ground for me, I recommended 60 names over 2.5 years. 46 were appointed as judges of this court, of that court. Punjab Haryana recommended 16, 14 were appointed as judges. So it's not judges were not being appointed. But over a period of time, what I found was that the time being taken is too long, and it's not got it sorted out, the whole problem. So in that sense, I have a great satisfaction. I don't know how many Chief Justices would have an opportunity to serve this long and appoint 60 judges to 2 high courts.
But sir, the counter to that also comes from the fact that there's been criticism of the Collegium of promoting their own.
So what is promoting their own? If somebody has been a judge and his son has to be considered, I don't think there is a bar. But I put a simple test. I said, if he is the son of a ward of a judge and he's good, he has to be 10% better than the others. That's how I used to look at it.
What do you think led to the breakdown where at least the government and the Collegium came into being? Was it like a communication problem, trust deficit? How do you look at it?
If government wants to play a bigger role, let me say it this way. They feel we have a role because we are the elected representatives. And in the judiciary, they feel that we are doing what the Collegium system says. My concern has been whatever system prevails must be operated. So if NJC was prevailing, we will operate the NJC. If a Collegium system is prevalent and what is law of the land is laid down by the Supreme Court as the final arbiter. Now, if this is the law, then the appointment must go through this process. That's been a little, difference of opinion I've had at times with the government on this issue.
You know, there's an old saying which goes on to suggest that if the judiciary is strong, the government's weaker. If the government's strong, the judiciary is weaker. How do you, in the current context, the government is strong.
I'll rephrase it. Whenever there is always a little tough war which goes on, okay, it's bound to occur by the reason of space you occupy. Because of the role the judiciary plays of a check and balance on an elected government. So wherever there have been coalition governments, judiciary may have forayed a little ahead. Wherever strong governments are, the pushback has been more. That's the historical part from 1950 onwards.
Has there been a pushback with this government?
Well, they want to play a bigger role, certainly. They feel that they are entitled to play a bigger role because they've been elected with a large mandate.
I want to just move away now and talk about, in the recent past, there have been judgments, a number of judgments at that, be it marriage equality, be it the governor-state standoff, be it the Maharashtra politics, be it even what we spoke of, which is Article 370. When you look at the observations, they are so strong. And when it comes down to the final test, the final push, it seems the Supreme Court or the bench has fallen short to deliver, where the final push comes into play.
So in courts, a lot of observations come. They arise from arguments. They arise from tentative thought process on it. The idea is to elicit answers. That doesn't mean the court has formed its view. Often that is misconstrued as an expression of view. While, there can be two kinds of judges. There can be a judge who is completely silent. Most dangerous, according to me. And you'll ask the bar, they'll say so. Because you don't get, if the judge doesn't speak, he doesn't know what is troubling the mind of the judge to answer it. So, from a lawyer's point of view, it's something which he will not like. He would like the judge to say. And if he says something, he has a chance to respond and reply. But a non-legal man may say, look, this is an expression of view which has taken place. Why is he backtracking on it? Also, it's not always. When a judgment closes, sometimes you have not made your decision. It has happened at times I've sat down to pen down a judgment and I said, look, let me take the view as I go on. As you dictate, as you structure the judgment, you come to a view. This is not unusual. Sometimes you have made up your mind. Sometimes you have not made up your mind. The real problem is arising because of a more divisive society, which is a worldwide prevalent factor today. So this concept of either I am a bhakt or I am an opponent, or either my way or highway, creates this problem because judiciary is an arbiter. In that arbiter, it's the person who walks the middle path, I think.
In terms of observations, there are very strong observations that come from the Supreme Court. In terms of, let's talk about the marriage equality. You were the one who authored, the decision on same-sex. Of course, the majority denied it. But the observations are so strong, but the deliverance, when it comes down to the verdict, is weak in perception.
So there are a lot of social context cases.
While some cases, like you pointed out, were socially relevant, the others are politically relevant.
Yes, they are politically relevant cases.
And in those cases,
the pressures in those cases, inter-party becomes very, very strong. So what is happening, if you see, a lot of these political cases, day in, day out, are coming before the Supreme Court. In a way, it is taking away time, sometimes I feel, for the Ramlal versus Shamlal matter, the poor chap who is pending in this court for the 13, 14 years, he doesn't get the result of a small dispute which is there. But that's the general scenario, and that's what my belief is, that those cases need to be also addressed. And the heat generated becomes huge from both sides. It is reflective in the court also what happens from the two sides. So in some sense, this is part of political battles which have to be reconciled by the court. But it has a ramification of some aspects of political battles which have to be fought by the parties outside the court. So the reservation I have sometimes is, don't bring the political battle into the court, not in the sense of what needs to be adjudicated, but there are issues to be debated only on the political plane. Now, sometimes one government is strong, sometimes there are balanced governments of the opposition. Today we undoubtedly have very strong government at the helm of the affairs. But that's a solution the opposition has to find.
But Justice Kaul, you've also said that the judiciary cannot occupy the space of the opposition. And you've said that a number of times.
Yes.
But the counter to that could also be that somewhere down the line, the judiciary is the conscience keeper of the Indian Constitution.
Absolutely.
So therefore, where many cases come into question, which are political in nature, and keeping in mind the political narrative outside, the solution would need to be found in the court. And that is where the criticism or the perception comes in, that the court, goes all the way till a point but fails to deliver in the final leg. The observations are all there, but the judgment isn't.
So conscious keeper, yes, but it's not a conscious keeper of the oppositions, not a conscious keeper of the government, it's a conscious keeper of the Constitution. Now, in the implementation of the Constitution, particular paths need to be followed, to my mind. When I say that we can't play the role of the opposition, is areas which are not really debatable in court, but are more of political nuances, must be debated in the political space. Aspects which are legal in character will naturally be debated, even if they are political in character, will be debated in the courts only. And the court can't shy away from taking a call on those. That's the job of the court. It's unfortunately the job is such that we are bound to displease somebody or the other. That happens whether in political space or otherwise. So on the lighter side, I often say that, we imbibe, the lawyer takes the negative energy of a dispute and passes on to the judge, and we imbibe the negative energy of what the dispute is about. So the relief which you get after retirement is that you leave this negative energy aside. But we have to take a call on those issues. That I have no doubt, that if there is a legal issue, we will have to take a call. Maybe in terms of a weak opposition, sometimes the expectation is that we'll extend ourselves beyond a certain level, but we can't extend ourselves beyond what we would do, even if there was, say, a more balanced opposition and government in power.
You yourself have been, because we're talking about political cases in nature, and there have been quite a few of the recent past. But where, personally, where I've seen your own, judgments, you've been a big votary of personal liberty. You've given some massive decisions when it comes down to bail. There are a lot of cases in court today where political parties, political leaders are in question. Do you see the denial of bail at a constant? It seems to be the first line. What's your opinion on that?
So I feel there is a problem.
There is a problem.
The problem is that we can't substitute custody period for a conviction. It can't be that we may or may not get a conviction, but let's keep the person behind bars. So the whole object of taking a person into custody is to prepare at that time the case within the legal parameters. I'm talking simplistically, so that the person doesn't, you get all the material for prosecution necessary. You do not, the person doesn't try to influence the trial and such other established practices. But this can't be a prolonged affair. If the trial goes on, then the person must get bail. You are depriving his right. Tomorrow you don't get a conviction. How do you compensate him for the period he is in custody? So this whole culture that of a change from of a bail and not the jail was the rule. Are we evolving? I'm putting a question to myself. That the jail is the rule, the bail is an exception. I don't believe that's the correct position.
So, Justice Kaul, it is disconcerting for you that right from the lower court to the top court, their denial of bail is the rule of thumb, at least with what we are seeing now.
I am troubled by the way the bail jurisprudence is being handled. I am undoubtedly troubled by it. I don't know why the signals we have sent through various judgments still have not gone down to what we had expected it to be. I can only hope that The courts realize, in judicial academies when I used to lecture, at times I used to tell them that if you think that giving dishonestly a bail is wrong, denying a bail is intellectual dishonesty, if you feel the man deserves bail.
You know, I'd ask you a leading question to this, which is in the political context, and you can choose it whichever way you'd want to answer it. You know, in some of your orders, you've barred the ED from taking action in cases and termed it as the agency overstepping its jurisdiction. You know, there was a notable order when the Supreme Court questioned the work being done by the CBI and ED and their high acquittal rates. Now, what do you think that can a mechanism be put in place to avoid that?
So these are premier investigative agencies, and their performance has to be of the highest order to my mind. So for example, I have frowned upon appeals by government being filed belatedly. Very openly I have frowned upon it, dismissed appeals. And I have not encouraged citation of judgment of early 1980s in a land acquisition case, because there were different time period. Today technology is available to everybody. So an efficient system must prosecute efficiently. That's my concern. If they prosecute efficiently, they'll see the result. If the results are not coming, is it not a matter for introspection from the government point of view? Why are we not completing the trial in the time we should, or getting the conviction rate which we should? I think it needs a rethink.
In your farewell speech, Justice Kaul, you know, and I'll two very different contexts, but I'll bring them up. You said a judge needs to be bold, one, and the other thing which you said was there's intolerance rising. What do you mean by both?
Bold in the sense, we blame the executive, saying that, look, you don't take a call. Because the executive may face, he has his own problems, the bureaucrat, he feels that he should not pay something. We have a constitutional protection. We should not hesitate to give relief where due. When I joined this bench, one of the judges told me, and it's something close to my heart, he says, the litigant comes as a last resort to court, because he doesn't want to go through this labyrinth which is there. And if he is really entitled to 50, don't give him 45. He will lose faith in the system. Especially against the government, these are long battles to be carried. Intolerance, I'm saying, because
intolerance is a politically incorrect word. I'm sorry, I'm like
no, intolerance in the sense that at every level, from a family unit level to a country level to an international level, the tendency to accept a point of view is a casualty, I feel. You know, everybody wants to, I want to say something, you're not listening. Are you listening? So people are not listening. That's the problem. You are not willing to listen to another point of view. Look at road rage cases, look at so many other scenarios. Why is it happening in our society? Have we become more, when I say intolerant to the smallest to the largest thing? People can coexist with a different point of view. In families, people used to exist. Husband and wife don't think alike. They do coexist. So, my reference to intolerance is in that context of not accepting another point of view and not listening enough that there can be another view which may be different for you. We are each entitled to our view.
My final question, sir. You know, you've had a long career. You've been on the bench for 22 years now. And in that, one of the most, I would reckon, fulfilling and the most challenging case for you?
I can't say singularly any case, but there are cases which are close to your heart, is what I say. So, MF Hussain and Perumal Murugan were close to something which was to my heart, because I believe that is what the right path is. Creating a permanent commission for women was another different matter, which I did in the High Court, was something again close to my heart. Privacy was another issue. 370 was another issue. So these are cases where you deal with sometimes social contexts. And I feel these are opportunities to reflect your view, because 90% cases arise from a normal routine scenario. And I think the greatest satisfaction of a judge is to write and reflect his point of view, like an author has, except that the lawyers have to be brief and we have to be brief, because people are interested in solution of their problem. They are not interested in theorization from us.
Justice Kaul, I wish you well and a blessed retirement, and thank you for joining us. And we do hope to see you in some form in public life, because you've been so for so long.
No, thank you. If there is something which I have to say, I'll say. Certainly. I have not hesitated on the bench, I think, to say what I feel to say.
That
I
is
don't
correct.
think minus that I will hesitate.
No, that is correct. And thank you for taking the time out for
Thank you so
joining
much.
us on India Today. Well, that's it. That's a wrap with Anisha Mathur. This is Preeti Choudhry in Delhi for India Today.
Beware, tech manipulators out to create deepfakes and pump them on social media during the campaign for the 2024 elections. Rohit Pal quoted 5 lakh rupees for a month for one candidate to damage the opponent's reputation with deepfake intimate videos.
स्टार्टिंग तो हम सिंपल अपना सोशल मीडिया हमारा बैक रहेगा, वो तो हमारा डेली प्रोसेस है, वो हमारी चलते रहेगी ऑनलाइन प्रोसेस है। इसके अलावा जो हम बीच में इन डीप फेक और कॉल रिकॉर्डिंग्स जो रहेंगे हमारी, इनको हम ऐसे यूज़ करेंगे। बीच बीच में कुछ क्लिप्स होंगे, वो आप भी हमें बताएंगे, जैसे कि अब वो भी आप भी हमें गाइड करेंगे कि हाँ इस पॉइंट पर मुझे ये वीडियो रन करवानी है, अब इसको आप बनाइए, क्रिएट करिए, या फिर वो हम वीडियो क्रिएट करेंगे।
अच्छा, दूसरी इसका आईपी वगैरह कहाँ से अपलोड हो?
सब सेट कर देंगे, आईपी एड्रेस चेंज कर सकते हैं अपना, हम अपना आपको दिखाएंगे यूएस से मैं इंडिया में काम कर रहा हूँ।
क्या चार्ज है?
सर चार्जेस हमारे 5 lakhs फॉर वन कैंडिडेट,
पूरे कैंपेन का?
हाँ, एक कैंडिडेट के लिए।
पेमेंट कैसे लेंगे अभी बताइए?
पेमेंट आप बताइए।
आई एम कंफर्टेबल
कैश ज़्यादा बेटर रहेगा।
तो इसमें किस तरह की वीडियोज़ बन सकती हैं, किस तरह की वीडियोज़ बना सकते हैं?
जैसे आप तो मुझे एग्जाम्पल पे ले हम फोटो लगा सकते हैं, तो भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं लगेगा।
अच्छा,
वो जो हरकत करेगा वो।
Our political landscape at risk from deepfakes. Stay vigilant as we bring more revelations in the second part of this investigation. Mohammad Hezbollah for India Today's Special Investigation Team.
In politics, everyone has an opinion, but I have the data. Whose stock is rising? Whose graph is falling? Track India's political stock exchange. Unmatched, unmissable data analytics. The only show on News TV where numbers do the talking. India's most credible poll tracker. The Political Stock Exchange with Rahul Kaul only on India Today.
With several opposition leaders now boycotting the consecration ceremony, citing what they call politicization of the event by BJP. Despite a personal invite from Ram Mandir Construction Committee Chief Nripendra Mishra, CPM General Secretary Sitaram Yechuri is set to skip Mandir unveiling. The Vishwa Hindu Parishad was quick to brand Sitaram Yechuri as a communist who hates Bhagwan Ram. Not just left, Samajwadi Party Muslim face and MP Shafiqur Rahman Barq called Ram Temple unveiling a black day, calling it forcible seizure of Babri Mosque. Opposition also attacked BJP and Prime Minister Narendra Modi for allegedly making the temple unveiling a political event. BJP said only those who got a divine calling from Ram will be able to reach Ayodhya. Will dirty politics mar the biggest faith event of the year? With Ashutosh Mishra in Delhi and Samarth Srivastav in Ayodhya, Bureau Report, India Today.
Viewers, let's take a look at the weather report across the major cities this evening. Thiruvananthapuram is at 30 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 109. Mumbai is at 32 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 199. Panji is at 30 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 210. Ahmedabad is at 28 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 228. Bhopal is at 27 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 206. Jaipur is at 23 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 131. Delhi is at 21 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 230. Srinagar is at 8 degrees Celsius with AQI being 145. Lucknow is at 10 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 291. Patna is at 13 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 281. Kolkata is at 16 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 190. Hyderabad is at 17 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 209. Bangalore is at 16 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 95. Chennai is at 25 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 147. This is all we have for you in this segment. Hope wherever you are, you find favorable weather around you. Keep watching India Today for all the weather updates with me AI Sana all through the day.
So sorry.
लाओ भैया दो चंदा डब्बे में डालो तुम, खत्म हो रहा पैसा मदद कर दो तुम। लाओ भैया दो चंदा डब्बे में डालो तुम, खत्म हो रहा पैसा मदद कर दो तुम। जिंगल 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 करो, सिंगल 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 ही दे दो। दिल में तुम्हारे क्या है हमको ये सब पता है, हर काले धन में ऐसा मिलाओगे भीड़ का पैसा, तुम्हें जीतने नहीं देंगे बेटा सुन बेटा सुन बेटा सुन बेटा। अरे चंदा तुम दे दो पैसा दो पैसा दो पैसा दो पैसा, तुम्हें जीतने नहीं देंगे बेटा सुन बेटा सुन बेटा सुन बेटा। अरे चंदा तुम दे दो पैसा दो पैसा दो पैसा दो पैसा। जिंगल 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 करो, सिंगल 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 ही दे दो। लाओ भैया दो चंदा डब्बे में डालो तुम, खत्म हो रहा है पैसा मदद कर दो तुम। जिंगल 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 करो, जिंगल 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 करो। अरे भैया सिंगल पैसा ही दे दो भैया, खड़की हो रखी है।
Presented by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, Growing Legacies.
Co-presented by Century Laminates by Manish Malhotra, fashion for your furniture.
Co-presented by
Macho Hint, बड़े आराम से.
Co-presented by
New Kia Sonet, the wild reborn. Co-powered by PolicyBazaar.com, हर family होगी insured. Max Life Insurance.
Good evening and welcome on board the news track. I'm Rahul Kamal. The Ram Yatra versus the Bharat Nyaya Yatra. The BJP versus the Congress. Prime Minister Modi versus Rahul Gandhi. Who will be able to capture the public's imagination in the beginning of the new year? That's my top focus on the news track.
Big Ram Mandir countdown begins. Invites sent out, politics speaks. Congress announces Yatra ahead of consecration. Will Mandir bolster BJP's mission? Can Nyaya Yatra help Congress on road to 2024? Stage set for state of war. Big focus on News Track.
Today was the first day when the media was given permission to shoot at the newly constructed Ram Temple. Finishing touches currently on. I shot there when work had just started. Gaurav Sawant is in Ayodhya, giving us the first sense of what the temple is shaping up like. We'll get you his ground report on the news track tonight. Let's get started. Here are the headlines I'm tracking this evening. Mega Ram Mandir exclusive on India Today. Gaurav Sawant takes you inside the temple complex ahead of the consecration ceremony. Mamata Banerjee likely to skip the Ram Mandir consecration ceremony on the 22nd of January. Rahul Gandhi's aide, Sam Pitroda, stirs controversy, says it bothers him that the entire nation is being involved in the Ram Mandir. Congress to launch its rebranded Bharat Jodo Yatra from the 14th of January. Bharat Nyaya Yatra to start from Manipur and cover 14 states from east to west. Politics escalates over the Home Minister's CAA warning. After Amit Shah calls CAA the law of the land, TMC and Congress hit out. Ask why is the CAA only being implemented in opposition rule states? Language row reignites in Karnataka. Pro-Kannada activists go on a rampage in Bengaluru. English posters, billboards and nameplates are taken down. CM Siddaramaiah says no one can take law in their hands. On News Track tonight, we bring you the first exclusive look at the Ram Temple. In 26 days, the consecration ceremony with full Vedic rituals will be held. Before that grand event, Gaurav Sawant takes you inside the temple complex in this India Today exclusive.
The Divya Bhavya Ram Temple here at Ayodhya. Work on at a very fast pace to ensure that construction for phase 1, that's the ground floor of the temple, is completed before the 22nd of January. That's where the consecration of the temple or the idol of Lord Ram or Ram Lala, a 5-year-old child Ram, will be installed here at the temple. Now, what's happening right now? Cement work is happening, stone work is happening, Makrana marble is being used for flooring on the ground floor. So that's the work that's happening right now. That's point 1. Point 2, if you look